All right. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back to Hebrew Chosen Elect Shabbat reading. Picking back up this week and reading the first and second Maccabees as as we lead up into the Feast of Hanukkah. So yeah, once again, Shabbat Shalom. Let me start by giving all praise, glory, honor, Yahweh by Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai, and get into these announcements, and then back into our reading, first and second Maccabees. Bibles are right here. So first announcement, we start, especially during this time of year, with the scripture Jonah chapter 2 verse 8, it being the quote unquote holiday season for the world, which we know as the holiday season, Jonah 2 and 8. They that observe lying vanities forsake their own mercy. So, while we're getting ready to celebrate the Feast of Hanukkah, everybody else in the world is getting ready to celebrate Christmas. Most people, which is forsaking the mercy that Yahweh had on Israel by sending his only begotten son to die for our sins. And we see our people out celebrating all the holidays that their oppressors and captors given to them through colonialization and slavery. And still to this day, we're celebrating these folly days like Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, Valentine's Day, Halloween, and you name it. Memorial Days, 4th of July, whatever. None of these things are biblical, but we all call ourselves followers of Christ, and we don't do what Christ did, which was kept the Feast of Hanukkah, or as John chapter 10, verse 22 calls it in the English, he went into the temple to keep the dedication, which in the Hebrew is Hanukkah. So that's what we as Israelites back in the truth and repented. That's what we're preparing for and what we celebrate, the Feast of Hanukkah. So moving on from that, upcoming 7th annual Hamashara Yashala Hebrew Chosen Elect Give It All You Got coat drive, which we will be having December the 20th. Dang, I didn't write down the address, but by next week I should update this flyer. But it'll be in Wilmington, December the 20th. Over on the east side, from the same barbershop we did last week. But yeah, I'll get that out to everybody again. If you really need it, you can go back and watch the intro to last week's video. We put out the address for it. I gotta update the flyer, like I said. So up until December 20th, we're still taking donations of coats, jackets, hats, scarves, gloves, any other winter apparel that you got and you would like to give and help somebody stay warm throughout the winter that's in need. We accept all those things in new or used in good condition. Also, we take monetary cash donations or cash app donations, which you can give in person for cash, or if you're not able to come get around us and give physical cash, you can donate through Cash App at hashtag BDANI01, and you can earmark that coat drive for any monetary donations through Cash App. And we like to say Thawada in advance for any help with our coat drive. Whatever you can give, is highly appreciated. Contact information, you can contact me for questions or concerns, or if you'd like to come out and fellowship or get in class or whatever your needs may be, you can contact me at We Are Israel Gemara Yashala on Facebook or through phone and text at 302-510-7147. I'm not even sharing the screen. But I'll do that in a minute. Y'all ain't even let me know.
That's what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I always share the screen for announcements. Yeah, either way, you can contact Yakanan through Facebook at Brandon Daniels, Yakanai Maccabee Yashala, or through phone at 508-840-7710. Also, please like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channels, HCE Red Pill Reality or ACE Reloaded. With that, let me go back and share my screen. We'll get into our reading to lead us up to Salakia. So Yakanai posted in the comments the address for the coat giveaway, which will be December 20th, is in front of Prominent Cuts Barbershop, 941 Clifford Brown Walk, Wilmington, Delaware. So, if you're able to come out and help out, we look forward to seeing you there. If not, like I said, we're taking donations, winter items, or cash. And like the scriptures say, the Most High loves a cheerful giver. So, and alms deliver from death. So whatever you can give, it's in your heart, please do so, and the water in advance. So last week we started our reading in First Maccabees, and also back and forth First and Second Maccabees, which you find in your apocryphal section of your 1611 KJV Bible. Which was taken out 17 or 1800s by the Protestant church, which church was not ordained of God, ordained to take out the apocrypha from the Bible, but they did. So if you don't have that in your Bible, you're missing important scripture and historical accounts, which is what we're going into last week and this week. The book of First Maccabees and Second Maccabees, because like I said earlier, John chapter 10 verse 22 says that Christ kept the dedication. If you don't have an apocrypha and you don't have this history or knowledge of it, the history between where the Old Testament leaves off with the book of Esther and the reign of the Persians and Medes, then you come into the New Testament and the Romans, they're in charge. You don't have any history in between, which is important history, because the book of Daniel prophesied the Greeks would be have dominion of the earth. And where do you find that at? If you don't have the apocrypha, you don't find it. You just stuck in limbo, I guess, right? So
you go from what?
You go from
Babylon?
No, the Persian Medes.
Yeah, that's Nehemiah.
Because that's after Babylon. Yeah, like
from there straight to Rome.
Yeah, so like if you got, and then in the Bible, it don't go in chronological order unless you buy one, which then that would be the last book going into Matthew. But yeah, without the Apocrypha, you're missing this history. And then a lot of people don't know about Josephus, which he gives the history, so that just validifies more the history of First and Second Maccabees, because the top Jew historian of the time of Christ and the apostles and all these things going down, he gives the same accounts that Maccabees does, with even a little bit more detail. So, this is where we get the history of dedication. This is where we find out what our quote unquote Lord and Savior was celebrating, because he wasn't celebrating his birthday, or Christmas. And that's what we're picking back up this week, is First Maccabees. Last week we touched on how the Greeks came to be, with the Alexander the Not Great finally defeating the Persians and Medes. That's why it's important. That's who he defeated to establish the kingdom of the Greeks. He defeated Darius the Persian, right? So, and then he passed away, and his kingdom went to his top four generals. Then their sons put in evils multiplied in the earth, and then their sons put crowns upon themselves. And then you get down to where we're at now, which is Antiochus Epiphanes the fourth, which is about the 140 something year of that kingdom. So within that first verse of First Maccabees chapter 1 down to where we left off, verse 15. That's about 140 some year time frame of the evils being multiplied in the earth and the kingdom being split to the four generals. It's about 140 years, 40 plus years. So now we're picking back up First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 16. And if you could read it out, verse 16, First Maccabees, and we're picking back up with King Antiochus and his reign and rule, and we're going to see the terror that he brought to the nation. So yeah,
16, right?
Con.
Now, when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have the dominion of 2 realms. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen.
Somebody help her. Salakia. Yeah, help her out. Yeah, I'm sorry. Read that again and let him out. Let him out. They just distracting everything.
17 or 16?
Verse 16 again.
Wasn't talking about him.
Now, when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have the dominion of 2 realms. Wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen and a great navy.
So now we're talking about King Antiochus, and last week we established that these Greeks they established the kingdom of the Greeks, but all these cats that we're reading about, all these kings, are Macedonians, who are Amalekites, who are Edomites. And when we read in the book of Habakkuk, we read exactly about their characteristics, the spirit that is in them and how they operate. And we see that with Antiochus. He's got his kingdom, but it's not good enough. Now he wants to expand it and go conquer Egypt. And
which proves the Edomites, because that's all Esau do. He
Mhm.
conquers everything.
It's right.
That's
Conquers
all he wants
everything.
to do. Continue to conquer. What is saying Obadiah? It says he don't do nothing.
Yeah, with robbers. I ain't going there, but with robbers, what did it say? Steal and not have, and until they had enough, right? But Esau, no, he don't never have enough.
Never enough.
Never. And Habakkuk gives some real good insight into the people, the nation of Esau. And back in chapter 2. So you mind reading it?
Yeah, I got it.
All right.
What verse?
Start at 1. Yeah.
Book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Most High answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it.
Mm-hmm.
For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie.
So real quick, so this is Habakkuk, which he's during the time of the return to Babylon. That's when Habakkuk was prophesying. I think Habakkuk, Zechariah, and Zephaniah, give or take one other. Those prophets were during the time of the return from Babylon. So everything they prophesied, just in case, a lot of times scoffers, they want to say, oh, that's already happened. That's already been fulfilled. When we talk prophecy and we link it with today, these prophecies you can't link with anything that happened before Babylon. So it has to be everything that came after. And what it's about to go into is the rule of these Edomites, these Macedonians, or these Greeks, and even today these Americans, right? European Americans. So this is everything after that. So it's going into Antiochus, uh, Alexander, that whole nation, and even the people that's ruling the earth today. So go ahead.
Verse 3 from the top again. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry.
Mm-hmm.
Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the lust shall live by his faith.
The just.
But the just shall live by his faith. Yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man. Neither keepeth at home, who enlargeneth his desire is hell.
Which you was just bringing out, like they conquer everything. The Europeans left Europe and they conquered the Americas. They conquered Africa. They conquered Asia. They conquered Australia. They conquered everywhere. Everywhere, right? Like I'm not going to go there, but in the East, who is Esau class, put the map up. You get a map of the whole world. What's either ran by Europeans or influenced by Europeans. It's the whole map.
Yeah.
The whole map is either ran by European power or influenced by European power. And how they get that stronghold on the world? Conquer the sword. Right. Death and destruction. So nothing is enough. Robbers might still tell they have enough, but not Esau, not Antiochus. And that's what he's doing in time of Greece, trying to take over Egypt. Go ahead.
Who enlargeneth his desire is hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people.
Mm-hmm.
Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a wanting proverb against him, and say?
So all right, so we can go back. Matter of fact, yeah, that's all I needed.
Okay.
So that's the MO of Esau, and we're seeing that. We're seeing that right here back in Maccabees, from the time that Alexander, the beginning of the chapter, to now. This is the start of that reign. This is the start of the blessing that Esau received from Isaac. And he said that let's get that real quick, Salakia. Let's get the blessing, because the blessing was all these things would start to happen.
27.
Yeah, Genesis 27. Just to show again, even with the blessing,
27.
the blessing gives us the clue of when Esau's reign will actually start, because we'll read it just to show more that, like, we've already proven that these are Edomites, but to show they're fulfilling the blessing in the prophecy. This story proves it. This is the start of the Edomites ruling the world. So actually 27 is the blessing of Jacob. We want Esau. So let's go 34 down. So we're at Genesis chapter 27, verse 34 down.
And it reads, and when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, bless me, even me also, O my father.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, thy brother came with subtlety, and had taken away thy blessing. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob?
Mm-hmm.
For he hath supplanted me these 2 times.
Uh-huh.
He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me?
Mm-hmm.
And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine.
So I can go ahead. What verse we had though?
37.
All right, go ahead. My bad.
And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son?
Mm-hmm.
And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above.
So Isaac's letting him know that this is going to be his blessing. He will have the fatness of the earth, which is basically what? All the earth, right? And the dew of heaven from above, representing what? All the resources from everybody. He's going to be getting the tribute from everybody, right? That's the dew of heaven.
Also on 36, where he says that he has planted me 2 times, it shows you that the very nature of Esau is that he's the breaker of covenants and he's a liar.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That and we see that all through the American history. All through American history and the history that we're reading in the Maccabees. Because they made a lot of deals then. Like you really want to go into the Josephus, because he, like I said, he gives the same history with even more details. Like they were constantly making deals with the Jews to have these freedoms or move freely and be able to keep their laws, and then always breaking them. So that's always been the MO. And so Isaac told him, you will dwell, your dwelling will be the fatness of the earth. Basically, you will have dominion of the earth and the dew from heaven above, right? Verse 40.
Will we read that?
Yeah, because we're going to show this when we read the whole thing, it's going to show that, yeah, this is when the start, the quote unquote Greeks coming into rule is the start of Esau's dominion and having the fatness of the earth and dew from above. Right? So go ahead, 40.
Verse 40. And by the sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion.
So real quick, so it said you'll live by the sword, and you all through the Bible you see Esau, even when he's not in rulership, he's got a position as like a general or something, and he's relied on for the sword. Saul sent the Edomite to kill the priest because none of the Israelites would do it. When Nebuchadnezzar burnt down the temple the first time, then you read that it was actually Esau doing it. It was really Esau doing it. So, and then the Persian rule, Haman the Edomite, the Agagite. He was like number 2 under the king, right? So in all these positions, he was in the position of using the sword. And then also at one point serving who? Jacob. So he lived by the sword, and he served Jacob at one point. And we also know this is symbolizing in the end he'll serve again, but leading up to, like I said, the Greek kingdom. He's already been living by the sword, and he served his brother Jacob during the time of Saul, during the time of David. I believe Solomon, he broke the yoke like around Rehoboam or after, one of those kings. But either way, so he served his brother. Go ahead.
And I'm going to start where I'm at. And shall come to pass when thou shalt have dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
And that's what we're reading. The Greeks coming into power, warring with the Jews, is the start of them fully breaking that yoke from off their neck, because we know that that's going to go from the Greeks to the Romans to what? 70 AD. And then total dominion of the earth from there, right? So this is the start of it. So, you know, because these wars and them breaking that yoke off of the neck from Jacob, that was the start of Edomite rule. It's then you add to that all the scriptures that we showed tracing back the Macedonians. It's without a doubt. This is the Edomites' kingdom. And through Revelation, you see that kingdom would be wounded and then healed, and that's where you get America, that same Edomite kingdom. Then you get Second Ezra prophecy, and it said that Esau would be the end of the world, and Jacob beginning of this next. So we know if we're not in the rulership of Jacob, Christ's kingdom, Esau's in rule, or else we're still waiting for Esau to be in rule. Right? Yeah.
And I have scripture on that.
Okay.
2 Kings 8:20-22.
Let me get it. They all right. They all right, Josiah. They all right. They all right. They all right. Go ahead. 2 Kings 8:20.
Yep, to 22.
Mm-hmm.
In his days, Edom
Right. This is
revolted-
perfect. This is it. This is when he first broke that yoke. Go ahead.
2 Kings 8:20-22. In his days, Edom revolted from under the hands of Judah
Mm-hmm.
and made a king over themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So Joram went over to Zaire and all the chariots with him, and he rose by night and smote the Edomites which compassed him about. And the captains of the chariots and the people fled into their tents. Yet Edom revolted from under the hand of Judah unto this day.
Mm-hmm.
Then Labnah revolted at the same time.
Right. So this is when they broke that yoke, and this is when they started. This is when they started basically their journey to having that world dominion. Right here, 2 Kings 8 verse 20 and down, and then you also see it. You also see it right before. So we read. Let me look it up real quick. You see with Hagag, right? Hagag, the one that's in with Esther and them, Mordecai. Yeah, Hagag the Macedonian. He was angry. He was angry about the two servants that Mordecai had told on. It's in the editions of Esther. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, it's in the editions. Because Agag put that plot in. Oh, I put Agag. Here's Haman. My bad. Hold on. I ain't gonna find it by doing it. Haman the Edomite.
Yeah, I'll be getting messed up too.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's an Agag. He's an Agagite. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Hammond would be after Agag in time frame. So Hammond is who you looking for.
Yeah. It said in the editions of Esther that he was angry. He was angry about the two servants. Where is that at? Does it say, is it called the editions or rest of Esther in the Apocrypha?
The rest of the chapters of the book of Esther.
What's it called?
The rest of the chapters of the book of Esther. That's what it's saying in the Apocrypha. The rest of the chapters.
Okay. Because if I don't find it right now, I'm about to just let it go. But either way, I'll find it later. In the editions of Esther, it ain't a long read. When you read that again, you'll notice when Mordecai had told on the two servants plot to kill the king. That was part of the reason why Haman was so angry at Mordecai, just showing that, well, who laid that plot and what was he trying to do? He was trying to do what he always does. He was trying to take out that king so that he could have rulership. And then so when Alexander came into play, this was a battle they were already waging even when Haman was serving in the Persian's kingdom. So Alexander, he basically finished he finished what was started way before even Haman. And what it is he was fulfilling what we read in Genesis, the blessing of Esau. So yeah.
So once again, we're seeing how Esau, his whole history and behavior has been about supplanting, and his behavior is what he claimed Jacob's behavior was.
Right.
Always working in the details,
right.
Slipping into different groups, and setting forth every man's hand against his brother.
He's the most profane. It's like I like the beginning of the Malcolm X movie. He's the biggest pork eater. He's the biggest liar. He's the biggest deal breaker. Remember that? The beginning? Yeah. He's the biggest hypocrite. That's all Esau. So who could that be other than Esau? Esau's all these things. And he's he's supplanted me these 2 times. But no, really, you're the person, you are the supplanter of the earth.
And the propaganda machine that's against us as Israelites have come from Amalek and Canaan's people. To this very day, there's no place on the earth we go that we're not less than human because of his propaganda machine and his ability to control the media.
Yeah, especially
Trying to say that young black is the biggest threat
to the state of Israel.
Somebody said that recently, didn't they?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. Like that woman, what's her name? You know her name?
Judith. The council of Israel.
But so yeah, this has been their MO. And even so, let's go back to Maccabees chapter 1. Even amongst each other, so they don't just, they're not just out for world domination of all the other nations. Even within themselves, they're the most bloodthirsty for power people on earth. And they have no respect of persons when it comes to family, mom, dad, anybody. Matter of fact, y'all seen the movie The Family That Prays? That seems like something you see. The Tyler Perry movie?
Oh, I heard. I think I seen
The
it.
Family.
I can't remember.
Either way, look, even over power and money, even the mom and the son, they're willing to take each other out. So that's Esau. That's Esau. That's all I'm saying. That's the MO of Esau. So, and that's what we see here. So Antiochus, like a typical Edomite, on a thirst for world power and willing to take out even his own people. Now he wants Egypt. So we left off at verse 17. Yeah, go ahead. So read 18.
And made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death.
Mm-hmm.
Thus they got the strong cities in the land of Egypt, and he took the spoils thereof. And after that Antiochus had smitten Egypt, he returned again in the 143rd year, and went up against Israel and Jerusalem with a great multitude,
Mm-hmm.
and entered proudly.
So this is 143 years after basically Alexander established that kingdom, defeating Darius. Go ahead.
And entered proudly into the sanctuary, and took away the golden altar, and the candlestick of light, and all the vessels thereof, and the table of the showbread, and the pouring vessels, and the diadems, and the censers of gold, and the veil, and the crowns, and the golden ornaments that were before the temple, all which he pulled off. He took also the silver and the gold, and the precious vessels. Also he took the hidden treasures which he found. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre, and spoken very proudly.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore there was great mourning in Israel, in every place where they were, so that the princes and elders mourned. The virgins and young men were made feeble, and the beauty of women was changed. Every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. In heaviness. The land also was moved for inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. And after 2 years fully expired, the king sent his chief collector of tribute unto the cities of Judah, who came unto Jerusalem with a great multitude, and spake peaceable words unto them. But all was deceit, for when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly upon the city, and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel. And when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire, and pulled down the houses and walls thereof on every side. But the women and children took they captive, and possessed the capital. Then builded they the city of David, with a great agony.
Great and strong wall.
34, 35?
33.
33. Then builded they the city of David with a great and strong wall, and with mighty towers, and made it a strong hold for them. And they put therein a sinful nation with wicked men, and fortified themselves therein. They stored it also with armor and victuals. And when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there. And so they became a sore snare, for it was a place to lie and wait against the sanctuary, and an evil adversary to Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary, and defiled it.
So who's this? This is what the Edomites do. And who's did that today? Still, huh? Same people did it today. They went through the Americas, slaughtering men, women, children, and came with the same deceit, speaking peaceably, but really with a sword in the other hand and ready to kill everything. It's the same people. Go ahead.
Insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her, and her own children left her. Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning, her Sabbaths into reproach, her honor into contempt. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heaven agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and pollute the sanctuary and holy people. Set up altars.
So what's that sound like? What's that sound like? So the king sent letters that he and we're gonna go to Daniel and show that this was prophesied. Daniel prophesied of the Greek kingdom coming and starting this, but today, what's it sound like? Doesn't it sound like Christianity? It sounds just like Christianity. It says everyone should leave his laws. He said many of the Israelites consented to his religion, sacrificing the idols, profaning the Sabbath day. When do we go to church today as a people? On the wrong day. We go to worship on Sundays. We go to worship on Sundays, and that's the first day of the week. But the Sabbath day is the seventh day of the week. And when did that change? And who changed it? I'm gonna see if I can look that up real quick. Because I know it was the Catholic Church. When was the Sabbath changed to Sunday? It was one of the popes, I forget. The change from the Sabbath to Sunday observance in Christianity occurred gradually over the first few centuries, culminating in official actions in the 4th century. Emperor Constantine issued a decree in 321 AD, making Sunday a day of rest for the entire Roman Empire. And councils like the Council of Laodicea reinforced this shift by discouraging or prohibiting the observance of the Saturday Sabbath, promoting Sunday as the Lord's Day. Also, even more closer to today's time, I remember I'm trying to find that. It was definitely a pope that started Sunday worship more closer to this time.
Pope Julius. No, he was the one that did the Christmas thing, Christ's birthday song. So sun worship. So I mean, that's what they is.
Right.
And that was in 337.
Yeah, we've read about that one. It's a book I got. Either way, it's the same thing. Leaving off the Sabbath days for Sunday, sun worship, basically. You don't have to keep the laws anymore. Sacrificing the idols. I mean, a Christian relies more on the cross that they carry around their neck than actually following the ways of Christ or following what the Bible says. That's idolatry. And it says, follow the strange laws of the land, forbid burnt offerings, sacrifice, drink offerings in temple, profane Sabbath days and festival days. Now, what do they say if you keep Hanukkah instead of Christmas? They look at you like you're crazy. Oh, y'all keeping Passover? You don't gotta keep those days. We keep Easter though.
Yeah, Thanksgiving, Halloween.
Yeah, so it's the same thing.
I don't understand that argument. Telling people not to keep the biblical feast days and
right,
days, but you keeping all of the ones that you know is not biblical.
Exactly.
And there's history of wickedness is tied to. So why would you even want to partake in that? I don't understand.
Only difference is now it's been the veil is so thick and covering people's eyes that now you don't gotta do it by the sword. Now all you gotta do is this, what the hell?
Lucky, I have a scripture on that as well.
Where are we going?
John 5:43.
All right.
Talking about Sunday worshiping.
John 5 what?
43.
All right.
Messiah says, I am come in my Father's name, and ye receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him ye will receive.
And that's what we do, right?
Receive him in his day. His Sunday worship.
Without any fight at all. It says 7th day of the week. You say first day, yes sir, boss, yes sir, master. We's gonna celebrate today. Yeah, we're gonna celebrate today. So I was gonna bring out the prophecy. So Daniel prophesied of it. In verse 8. So somebody read 8 and 1 down.
pulling it up on her.
Yeah, it's up there.
In the 3rd year of the reign of King Belshazzar, a vision appeared unto me, even unto me Daniel, after that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw a vision, and it came to pass when I saw that I was at Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river Ulai. Then I lifted up my eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up.
So this was the Persian and Medes that he's prophesying about. Go ahead.
Verse 4, I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beast might stand before him. Neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. He did according to his will and became great.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth.
And that he-goat, so it was the ram was represented the Persians and Medes, and the he-goat represents Alexander the Great. So everything we've been reading in 1 Maccabees chapter 1 was prophesied by Daniel. Go ahead.
Verse 5 again. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with collar against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him. But he cast him down to the ground, and stomped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and for it came up. So
Alexander, when he had conquered like everywhere,
mm-hmm.
he was born for what, 12 years, I think, 10 to 12 years. He did, then he died. So Daniel was prophesying that once he once he waxed strong, he basically conquered most of the known world. Then the great horn was broken. He died. Go ahead.
And for it came up for notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven.
And that was the 4 generals that took over after him, the 4 kingdoms that was came out of Alexander. Go ahead.
Verse 9. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great, and that's towards the south.
That's who we're reading about now. So then came up Antiochus Epiphanes. He was that little horn prophesied in Daniel. Go ahead.
And toward the east and toward the pleasant land.
That being Jerusalem. So he came. We just read that he came against Jerusalem. Go ahead.
And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. And a host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth
to the ground. How did it cast down the truth? Sacrifice. He made the people leave off of our laws and start to keep his laws. So the truth being the word, the laws. So the truth, he cast it around. Go ahead.
And he practiced and prospered. Then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation? to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot. And he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed. And it came to pass when I, even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as
You know what's funny about that? Without trying to go in a deep breakdown. The kingdom of the Greeks started roughly 3 something BC. Antiochus is around 185 BC. And we're in the year 2025. And he said that, and we see that Israel's waking up now. You know, the truth is coming back out on a major level. It's growing more and more every day. And he said that he said, how long will the vision concern daily sacrifice and transgression of desolation, to give the sanctuary and host to be trodden underfoot? How long would it be? And he said 2,300 days. Well, we getting pretty close. If them days, if say they years, we're pretty damn close to around them days, them years being up. And when we look out in the world, we see that everything is, America is starting its fall. Israel is waking up. We're getting, you can see through everything that's happening in the world that we're getting close to the return of Yahushua. And Yahushua's return is what? Comes after the time of the Gentiles. And that being the transgression of desolation, right? He said that Jerusalem would be trodden underfoot till the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled, and Israel would be captive. And we know in Deuteronomy that once he comes back, the curse is being turned on our enemy. If these days or years, you can see we getting real close to this for total fulfillment. But just even showing that it wasn't just the time of the Greeks, and that because that kingdom lasted till about up until Christ's time. Then Romans took over. So this prophecy wasn't just for that little short 300 years. That prophecy started then and was even for today. Right? Verse 15.
And it came to pass when I, even I, Daniel, had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. Now, as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground. But he touched me and set me upright. And he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of the indignation. For at the time appointed the end shall be. The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of Media and Persia. And the rough goat is the king of Grecia. And the great horn that is between his eyes is the first king.
Mm-hmm. So, like I said, that was Alexander. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Now that being broken, whereas 4 stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding, and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, and he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper in practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many.
And that's what we see today. So it started out with Antiochus through the sword, casting down the laws, getting rid of the Sabbath day, getting rid of sacrifices, and that was done by the sword. And now you bring it up to the day, the same kingdom, right? You bring it up to the day. How do they do it? By policy and by craft. It's the same thing. They've cast down the laws to the ground, did away with the sacrifices, offerings, and profaning of the Sabbath day. Now, if you want to follow Christ, you want to worship the Most High, now you do it on Sunday. They do it craftily and by policy. Go ahead, freedom of religion, right?
Salakia, when I read in an older Bible, it says, and by his tariffs shall he cause craft to prosper. And we see that's a big topic today.
And magnified himself in his heart, and by peace destroyed many. He destroys many by peace today. Because how's he destroying you? He's destroying you through your being given to sin. He's destroying you by you turning from the Most High. Because look out in America. It's peace. But even though it's peace in America, he's destroying many lives of Israel. Right?
We see also by peace, by giving our singers contracts that promote violence and rape against their own people, right? And it's in all of the sporting arenas, right? And him coming together with us in meetings, talking about that you have a right to vote, but yet it's by craft that all of a sudden it doesn't mean you because you're three-fifths. It's just by all of his policies, right? That it's always, he doesn't keep his promise.
Yeah, and it turns you to worshiping the beast instead of the creator through all those means.
Yeah, and now we self-destruct because he can stand back and say, well, look, this is what they're doing to themselves, but he make it impossible for you to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Or he does it the best he can. You want to eat, serve in our military, and let's kill other innocent people so that he can have dominion and build his empire.
Right. Or you want to live, you want housing, put your man out of the house. Raise these kids without a daddy. We'll raise them for you. We'll put them in this school to prison pipeline. Right? Yeah, all these things. Keep reading.
He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without him. Verse 26. And the vision of the evening and the morning which was told is true. Wherefore shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days.
Many days, thousands of years. So this all started, it was prophesied, it started with Alexander, then his kingdom down to Antiochus, then into the Romans, and then up to today, the Europeans and the Americans. That's the many days until the end come. So let's go back.
Drop that?
Yeah, we dropped that.
We got to Maccabees, right?
Yeah. So first Maccabees 1,
Yeah, like 47.
verse 47.
Yeah, no, 47. Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts.
Hold on real quick. Oh, Thawada Yedadiah. That's Pope Sylvester the First was the Pope during Constantine's time.
Saturday.
Yeah, but I got somebody signed it into decree like around the 15 or 14 or 1300s. I'll get that later. we it ain't that big deal. But that was also the Catholic Church. That was also a Pope and an Edomite. So, Salakia. Go ahead.
That they should also leave their uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanliness and profanation. To end, they might forget the law and change all the ordinances. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. In the self-same, so is that self-same? Self-same manner wrote he to his full kingdom and appointed overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, everyone that forsook the law, and so they committed evil in the land, and drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for support. Now the 15th day of the month, Cassiu, in the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar, and builded idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side, and burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law which they found, they burnt them with fire. And wheresoever was found with any the book of the testament, or any consenting to the law, the king's commandments was that they should put him to death. Thus did they, by their authority, unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the cities. Now the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of God, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised, and they hanged their infants about their necks, and rifled their houses, and slew them that
So,
had
what verse are we at?
Keep reading.
No, read 59 again.
Now the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice upon the idol altar, which was upon the altar of God, at which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. And they hanged their infants about their necks, and rifled their houses, and slew them that had circumcised.
Oh, it's like you did 25th. 25th they sacrifice. So this is the 25th of Caslu, and the ancient Roman festival of Saturnalia, because the 25th is when he Feast of Hanukkah is. The 25th of the month Caslu, which for us this year falls December the 15th, right? Because obviously back then they did the calendar of the months by the moon. Nowadays, what's this calendar called? The Gregorian or whatever. It doesn't go by that. So the 25th of Caslu, the ancient Roman festival of Saturnalia, this is what they would have been sacrificing, because this is Antiochus. Because this is a Roman festival, not a Greek festival. But remember when Antiochus came in play, it said that he had been a hostage at Rome. So while he was in Rome, what did he do? He learned the festivals and the different cultural ways of the Romans. Right. So Antiochus, he was making us celebrate the Saturnalia. That's what he was celebrating. So the Saturnalia was celebrated around the same time as Hanukkah and shares similar traditions such as feasting and lighting candles. And that's all I wanted out of that. So now read verse 60. So he came in, he's casting down the laws, he's forbidding sacrifice in the temple, he's forbidding circumcisions, he's forbidding all the customs that we keep being given the laws of God. Now read verse 60.
At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised. And they hanged the infants about their necks, and rifled their houses, and slew them that had circumcised them. Howbeit, many in Israel were fully resolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing. Wherefore they chose rather to die, that they might not be defiled with demons, and that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died, and there was very great wrath upon Israel.
All right, so we see cats is willing to die for the laws of God. Now let's switch over to 2 Maccabees, 5 verse 1.
No, I won.
No, you bring it up.
Yeah.
Second,
Maccabees 5:1. About the same time, Antiochus prepared his second voyage into Egypt. And then it happened that through all the city, for a space almost of 40 days, there were seen horsemen running in the air and clothed of gold and armed with lances, like a band of soldiers. Then the troop of the horsemen in array, encountering, running one against another, with shaking of shield and multitude of pikes and drawings of swords, and casting of darts, and glittering of golden ornaments, and harnesses of all sorts. Wherefore every man prayed that the apparition might turn to good. Now when there was going forth a false rumor as though Antiochus had been dead, Jason took at the least 1,000 men and suddenly made an assault upon the city. And they that were upon the walls being put back in the cities at length taken Menelaus fled into the castle.
And Jason, that's the brother of Onias the high priest. These cats was Israelites that was them wicked Israelites that brought in the Greek customs and the gymnasiums. That was these cats. Go ahead. Yeah.
But Jason slew his own citizens without mercy, not considering that to get the day of them of his own nation would be a most unhappy day for him. But thinking they had been his enemies and not his countrymen whom he conquered. Howbeit, for all this he obtained not the principality, but at the last received shame for the reward of his treason, and fled again into the country of the Ammonites.
You know, this reminds me of it reminds me of your ice agents. Because now they got black ice agents, they got Hispanic ice agents, and what's their job? To go against their own people. The same thing then, same thing now. Go ahead.
And in the end, therefore, he had an unhappy return, being accused before Aretas, the king of the Arabians, fleeing from city to city, pursued of all men, hated as a forsaker of the law, and being had an abomination as an open enemy of his country. And countrymen he was cast out into Egypt. Thus he that had driven many out of their country perished in a strange land, retiring to the Lacedaemonians and thinking there to find succor by reason of his kindred. And he that had cast out many unburied had none to mourn for him, nor any solemn funerals at all, no sepulchre with his father. Now when this that was done came to the king's card, he thought that Judea had revolted, whereupon removing out of Egypt, and in furious mind, he took the city by force of arms, and commanded his men of war not to spare such as they met, and slay such as went up upon the houses. Thus there was a killing of young and old, making away of men, women, and children, slaying of virgins and infants. And there was destroyed within the space of 3 whole days 80,000, where 40,000 were slain in the conflict, and no fewer sold than slain. Yet was he not content with this. He presumed to go into the most holy temple of all the world, Menelaus, that traitor to the law and to his own country, being his God, and taking the holy vessels with polluted hands and with profane hands, pulling down the things that were dedicated by other kings to the argumentation and the glory of glory and honor of the place. He gave them away. And so haughty was Antiochus in mind that he considered not that the Lord was angry for a while for the sins of them that dwelt in the city, and therefore his eyes were not upon the place. For had they not been formerly wrapped in many sins, this man, as soon as he had come, had forthwith been scourged, and put back from his presumptions, as Heliodorus was, whom Seleucus the king sent to view the treasury. Nevertheless, Yahweh did not choose the people for the place's sake, but the place for the people's sake. And therefore the place itself that was partakers with them in them of the adversity that happened to the nations did afterwards communicate and benefit sent from Yahweh. And as it was forsaken in the wrath of the Almighty, so again the great Yahweh began reconcile it was set up with all glory. So when Antiochus had carried out of the temple 1,800 talents, he departed in all haste unto Antiochia, weening in his pride to make the land navigable and the sea passable by foot. Such was haughtiness of his mind. And he left governors to vex the nation at Jerusalem, Philip for his country, and Phagarian, and for manners more barbarous than he had set him there. And at Garisum, Andronicus, and beside Menelaus, who's worse than all the rest, bare and heavy hand over the citizens, having a malicious mind against his countrymen, the Jews. He sent also that detestable ringleader, Apollonius, with an army of 22,000, commanding him to slay all those that were in their best age, and to sell the women in the younger sort, whose coming to Jerusalem and pretending peace did forbear till the holy days of the Sabbath. When taking the Jews keeping holy days, he commanded his men to arm themselves. And so he slew all them that were going to the celebrating of the Sabbath, and running through the city with weapons, slew great multitudes. But Judas Maccabees, with 9 others or thereabout, withdrew himself into the wilderness and lived in the mountains after the manner of beasts, with his company, who fed on herbs continually, lest they should be partakers of the pollution.
Yeah, so you see, Esau, he obviously he's never had any type of respect or fear of the Most High. No fear of the Most High, no love for his laws, no love for righteousness. He's always been against that which is good, right? And there's always been Israelites that's coon Negroes, right? Back then, today. Like the same way back then he did all these acts, slaughtering the Jews, killing the Israelites. He did it with the assistance of other Israelites and Jews. Even the conquering of the Americans, there was always some coons there to help, whether it was the Spaniards, the conquistadors, or whether it was the what they call them, the cavalry, killing the North American Native American Indians. Like, how'd they get Geronimo? They was right hand in hand with other so-called Native Americans, helping them, teaching them the ways to track the other Indians, right? Their war tactics, how you gonna get them, where you gonna get them. It's always them coons willing to help out, even up into civil rights movement. We was talking about Judas, the Judas and the Black Messiah, that cat. I think William O'Neill, whatever his name is, coon, helping to take down his own people that's just trying to get up from the dust, right? Them people is always there in the nation. You was about to say, add something?
And also, when we see we got our so-called black politicians that just always drive us back to form an alliance with them and inviting them into our meetings. So we're never at the point where we gather ourselves together and handle family matters and get back to family. Because we can't do anything without our politicians,
right,
bringing them into our space.
Yeah, because it just shows there are people who always lack faith. Can't get nothing done without. Well, did we read it last week? I think it's at the beginning of this reading, but it says we had them to be our enemy and adversary. We always go to our enemy to be our adversary, forgetting that they gonna still at the end of the day be the enemy. They'll be your adversary when it's to their advantage. But once it becomes not to their advantage, they're gonna be right back your enemy again, because that's what they are. And they've been that enemy from time of the blessing.
He has created some vessels under honor and some under dishonor. Esau was a dishonorable vessel.
Right, that dishonorable vessel. And it is from that onset, the beginning, it showed that this how he's played out and manifested who he is, that this honorable vessel. He wasn't cheated out of the birthright. He sold the birthright. He never valued the birthright because he couldn't put his hands on the birthright right then. He couldn't hold it in his hand. He couldn't see the value in it. He has to have the riches now. I have to have it physically and be on top and have everything in my beck and call. So he didn't have that. That was like the scripture say, Abraham had faith in it, even though that was, for paraphrasing, time way down the road. Esau never had that. Esau it's my money and I want it now. So, so this is where we get to, we've already read, we had the priest that had the people righteous and things was good. Even Seleucus was bringing kings were bringing their glory to the temple. Then you had them wicked niggas that had more wicked niggas bringing in wickedness, and he allowed the Greeks to come in and do some tearing shit up, right? And now we've gotten to this point. The city is destroyed. Antiochus is coming in, and he's been killing. He's been taking people captive, and now here comes Judas. Here comes Mattathias, the Maccabees. So we left off verse 27. Let's jump back to first Maccabees. Let's jump back to first Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 1. And this is where we start off with Judas coming in, but by it first being his father, right? Mattathias. So first Maccabees 2, verse 1.
In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Joarib, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin.
Mm-hmm.
And he had 5 sons: Johanan, called Cadiz,
Mm-hmm.
Simon, called Thassi, Judas, who was called Maccabeus,
Mm-hmm.
Eleazar, called Avaron, and Jonathan, whose surname was Apis.
Mm-hmm.
And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, "Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers."
And see, this is the mind state that we're supposed to have, and we have to have. Is that woe is me? To see the misery of my people. A lot of us are comfortable in the condition. A lot of us are comfortable here in America and just being able to get a tax check at the end of the year and being able to smoke weed. It's legal now. Being able to get the food stamps and just being able to live and get a job and get money and have things. But then that's why we're filthy just like everybody else, but we are select and special people amongst us because the fact that we strive for the commandments and we hate, the ways of this society and the ways of this world, and we reject the holidays, and we reject everything that they're about, the pleasing of the flesh, and just the really the selfishness, that selfish spirit that comes with being here in America, right? We got to keep that mind state the same way Mattathias had, and you should be upset when you see our people giving to Christianity. Are people more concerned with what their favorite NBA player or NFL player is doing, rather than taking 5 minutes in a day to even read? We don't really care about God, even though we'll claim to be Christian people. I go to church on Sunday for 2 hours and don't read nothing. I did my service to God. So, if you're in this walk, there's something about you. There's something special about you. Because you're one of the few. The scriptures say that the world to come isn't for many. Right? Right. Wide is the gate. Wide is the gate destruction. Right. So that also comes in play where now your faith is going to be tested, because you're going to see that you're never going to see that you're you're doing the popular thing if you're in this walk. You're not going to see that. We're always going to be a few amongst each other that's trying to follow that right way. Salaki, yeah, we can go back because he's messing up with train of thought. But I said enough on that. You gotta have the mind of Mattathias, right? Stop being comfortable in your captivity just because it ain't as bad. It's not as bad as it was in the 50s, the 60s. So now we won the civil rights movement because I can get a job. I can get food stamps. So we won the civil rights movement. We never needed the Panthers. We never needed a revolution. Well, we needed liberation, and we don't have that. Because real liberation is being brought back to the Most High and keeping His ways and not the ways of the world. So yeah, pick back up where you was at, verse 7, I believe.
I'm gonna start it back from the top. He said, "Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers.
Mm-hmm.
Her temple has become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets, her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation had not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
See, we're not mad enough about. We're comfortable here in captivity, and we're not mad about our home being turned into a tourist attraction. Nah, we'll buy a ticket and go be tourists. Not even having in mind that I'm a tourist and what was really given to my forefathers to be given to me. We're not mad enough about that. We're not mad enough about the fact that you go in, right? I've never been there personally, but I've seen videos, and they got all the white images in the front. And then they got a back room with all the real images of the real people of the Bible being of color. But I'm talking about our people that ain't truth. Go there and it's like picture time and no big deal. Oh, look, it's some black images in the back. Oh, that's cool. And then just keep walking on. Where's Jesus's rag of Turin at? Just walk right by the truth in your face. Don't you see these pictures are older than the ones in the front?
The front is propaganda.
Yeah.
Bring tourists in.
Right.
They know that the white tourists won't come knowing it's a black
historical
site. They know that. They got to appeal to white supremacy, which we talked about earlier, influences the whole world.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Yes, and Salaki, where it says that the infants are slain in the street. We're looking at the black on black crime and stuff like that, right? It says, and they're slain with the sword of the enemy. Who is it that bring all of these guns into our community? It's the federal government.
Right.
It recycles guns and they bring them back into our neighborhood, leave them around the neighborhood, and they make them accessible to our kids, right? But he could say he could look at his hands as if they're clean, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at those things that
it's proof of what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Don't look at Delaware. Don't look at like Virginia. Look at the places where it's illegal to even be a regular person and like get a legal gun. Like New York. Look at they like real strict on gun laws. Like you can't. I remember Plexico Burris shot himself in the leg and went to jail, and he legally owned that gun, but he wasn't supposed to have a gun in New York, right? So they got real strict gun laws. But even as strict as those gun laws is, where's all the murders happening and how are they happening? They're happening in the black and Hispanic neighborhoods, and they're happening by gun violence. But they got some of the strictest gun laws. Or even look at the United Kingdom. I think I could be wrong, but I think like even regular white people, anybody, regular citizen, I don't think they allowed to own a gun. But still in them black neighborhoods, in the ghettos, they still getting murders by gun violence.
And you're right, they don't have the right to have guns. But UK, they have their division, like the CIA. They have been saying that they have been getting guns that have been pouring into their country. And when they search the registries on those guns, are guns that were seized by police departments here in the United States.
Right.
So it's an international that's coming over to their area. And they're selling those guns for 5 times the price or more than what you'll buy one here in the America.
Right. And that was kind of the point. How are these places with such tough gun laws? How are the poorest people in these places getting their hands on guns? You are flooding the same way the crack came in, the same way everything comes in. You're flooding those streets with the stuff. You're giving us the things to kill ourselves, right?
FBI, the CIA, and all of these groups, those are the people, the ones who are directly responsible to delivering those into other countries. These are guns that's supposed to have been taken by police departments and destroyed. They have got documents stating that they have destroyed those items, but yet it's being shown up in the UK.
Yeah, you gotta watch. You probably seen. I don't know. Well, I don't. Every time I say you probably seen the movie, you like I didn't see it. But have you ever seen American Me? I think it's American Me with Tom Cruise. He plays the pilot. Man, all right, we gotta check that one out. So he plays the pilot for the CIA during the crack epidemic. The Contras, the Contras bring the coke in. He was an American hired by the CIA. He's bringing in all the drugs from South America, Mexico, wherever. And then once it finally got caught on to or whatever, the CIA, they just cut ties with him, act like they ain't know him. Like it shows you that they started shredding papers in the office. Like all of a sudden, this division doesn't exist no more. Now they doing something else, but the whole time up until it came to light, they was funneling it all in. And this dude, right before he died, he like made these videos explaining how he worked for them and how it all happened. Yeah, it's a Tom Cruise movie. It's you know, I don't like to watch a lot of movies either, but it's a good one.
How do you go to the FBI and the CIA when they're the perpetrators of this? Mm-hmm. And that's what we do when we can't get justice here in the lower courts.
Right.
You know, that they hold down. Then the FBI is right there to assure that there's no recompense or remedy for us on the other side.
Right. All right, let's go back.
All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman, she has become a bondslave. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory, laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. To what end, therefore, shall we live any longer? Then Mattathias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourned very sore. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city Modin to make them sacrifice. And when many of Israel came unto them, Mattathias also and his sons came together, and answered the king's officers, and said to Mattathias on this wise: Thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore, come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done. Yeah, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem. So shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice: Though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers, and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. God forbid that we should forsake the law and ordinances.
And real quick, it's just crazy how this country is so God first, one nation under God, this Christian country, Christian nation, right? But hold the Greeks so highly in history, and the Romans, when this is what they was taking part in. They was coming in, they wasn't warring over, like it wasn't a mutual war. They was coming in the same way, you know, the Europeans came into America. Like, we see you got something, we want the whole earth. We see that you have this portion of it. We're going to come in and we're going to kill you, and we're going to slaughter you, and we're going to desecrate your temple and force you to, like, you can't even keep laws that are like, here. It wasn't no freedom of religion then, right? And now freedom of religion is really kind of a falsehood, because the whole purpose of freedom of religion is to take you away from actual religion, because the meaning of religion is paraphrasing, like let me look it up real quick. It's basically how you serve God. That's the definition of religion. Which the point I'm making is, how many ways are there to serve the Most High? How many ways? How many ways are there to serve the Most High? There's one way, right? But part of America is what? Freedom of religion. There's no freedom of religion. Yeah, ain't no freedom of religion. Religion means the belief in or worship of a, no, not that one, particular system of faith and worship. So there's only one God that they claim to be. This is a nation under that God, followers of his son. But you have freedom of religion. There's only one religion with the Most High. That's obedience. And the Son said it himself. So that was a falsehood. But it's just funny how this nation can make those claims, but hold the Greeks, the Romans, so highly in esteem. And this is what they're doing, killing innocent people just for keeping their customs and quote unquote freedom of religion. Because freedom of religion today is the same way it was then. Everything was put by them to keep you away from actually serving the Most High God.
And when we read it earlier, it said that they preferred the ways of the Grecians, right? Instead of their own. And when you look at the biggest events that we have here throughout the Americas and this new Roman Empire, is your sporting arrangements. Still today, we prefer the ways of the heathen or the Grecians, because the NFL, you can never take that from the Negro. The basketball, you're not going to be in as us as parents, when we engage in their activities, those little leagues and stuff like that, those are built to land on the Sabbath. To occupy, to keep you from praising the Most High. Still today, like we even have to repent, because that's how cunning or the craftiness of Esau. That everything that has an just to keep your kids' attention from being off the streets, you put them in a program, and you'll put them in that program. But that program is there by its days to disregard our holy days and the commandments of what we're supposed to be doing in our life. So they're structured so that we're always all peace of the affliction.
And and what starts out as an innocent game for kids to keep them off the street, you know, it's big business in America, and it draws you to, okay, I'm good at it. I can get my family out of poverty. And then you start striving toward this mark of greatness in this athletic field. And you do what? You start to like the glory of the Grecians better than the glory of the Most High. And we see that with Kyrie. He had to face that decision, didn't he? And what happened? He what did he choose? The glory of the Grecians. Yeah. Yep. Nick Cannon. It ain't sports, but he right.
Even Kanye, he held out the longest, but he just recently he apologized or something.
He's not back now. Yeah, he's not taking on the Mattathias and the Judas in it. He did for a little bit, but you know,
he held out the longest.
Like that glory of the Grecians really be getting. Because
once you in it in that industry, in that case, they got something that makes you come back.
Yeah, and then I you see the wickedness of that industry. I wouldn't say it's far fetched that they done took him and what's the word, and deleted him and replaced him. And now we see this guy coming back like, yeah, he couldn't hold strong in what he believed, but you know, it could be a duplicate. But I'm just saying it ain't far fetched.
In this hour, and the scriptures also said in Deuteronomy that we shall go to our enemies and all one. So for you to even survive here, if you want to feed your family, violate the law, work on Saturdays. Gladly do it. You know what I mean? If you want to take and be an actor, whatever that gift is, whatever that light is, that could be a testament to your people. Then when you come in, you have to sign this right here agreement that you're going to take it. There's going to be no name. You're never going to mention the name of your house. You're never going to reveal to your people who they actually are. All of these things that you contract with, they're right there in your way to keep you from being able to use you as a tool against your own people. Because everything you desire, they got it. I said time and time again, it's just as Christ was taken up into a high space and said, you see all these things, the world, whatever you want, I'll give it to you. All of these guys will be Israel if Jesus is a people. When we want to excel in whatever that gift is we got, Esau will take us up on a high hill and show us the income. He'll show you the privilege. He'll show you the Bentley. He'll show you the whores. And now you will have to take that same temptation that Christ was taking. So either you'll pass it or you'll fail.
Yeah, that's exactly what he does. That's how he gets us. Taking us up on that mountain and showing everything you can have. Look at what you can have. Look what you're driving now. You ain't got it. You can get rid of. You can move on from that. You know, look at where you living. You can leave them people. We got. Look at all these. We building up Middletown. We building up the outskirts of Kennedy Square. Whatever, wherever. We building it up. Look, I can get you in there. All you gotta do is worship me. Worship me. Leave God alone. God wants you to have this. Yeah. God wants you to be content, huh? We're gonna be able to finish down to 30. Because then we're gonna hop over to actually 2nd Maccabees. Yeah. We're gonna have to come back for that one. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot more. Next week we're gonna go 1 to 4. I mean, yeah. But yeah. How many more weeks we got till let me check the calendar.
It's not next week.
Hanukkah. Hanukkah is
do it the whole month.
That's true. All right. So yeah, let's read down to verse 30.
I'm at 22. We will not hearken unto the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left. Now, when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar, which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment. Which thing, when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. Also the king's commissioners, who he compelled, who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. Thus dealt he zealously for the law of Yahweh, like as Phinehas did unto Zambri, the son of Salem. And Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, Whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there, both they and their children and their wives and their cattle, because afflictions increased sore upon them.
All right. So we'll stop right there because next I want to go into, we'll hop over to Second Maccabees and go into, so we see Mattathias, he refused to sacrifice the swine's flesh. He revolted and he he fought back. Everybody couldn't fight back, but Second Maccabees, now we're going into the elder that they tried to force to eat the swine's flesh. And the young men and their mom that was compelled to eat and they refused. And it's too much to finish today, so it ain't no point going into it. I will say this though, before we close out, we're gonna stop reading there, but before we close out, it's just another example though of how foolish it is for Pastor Pork Chop or any Christians that believe the doctrine that we can eat whatever we want now. You can eat pork, you can eat shrimp, crab, lobster, whatever you want, because we got Christ, and he said what goes in your mouth doesn't defile the man, but it's what goes out of your mouth or into the abyss or out of your mouth that defiles the man. And it's like, okay, but so what about these? So what about these righteous men and women, right, that we read about, who aren't, there's no writing where we find that they was in idolatry or they was stuck in sin. They was following the laws of God. They're being written of in a glorifying manner, and they was rejecting the whole idea of, even at the threat of death, to eat this swine's flesh. And these are examples. The New Testament even says that the scriptures were written for our learning and example, right? Instructions in righteousness, paraphrasing. So yeah, we understand that Christ had to come because Israel, it was the peculiar seed chosen by God, but Israel rejected him. But yeah, it's the Bible and these scriptures, when it talks about Israel going off or even being righteous, it's when is it ever like literally every single person in the nation? So yeah, Israel went off, and that's what we see in Maccabees. Like, as much as you had the wicked Israelites that wanted to follow the heathen, there's always been, a select few. As a matter of fact, even in Kings, who was it? It was either Elijah or Elisha. I think it was Elijah, but the Most High had to let him know. I think it was Elijah. He thought he was the only prophet left, right? And he let him know, nah. I got 7,000. Right. So it's always been, people that would not bow down to the devil, follow the ways of the heathen. And we see it, and we see when we do see it, in this instance, we see those are the ones that's rejecting eating swine, even at the threat of death. But you're going to come back now and tell me that because Israel is wicked, the Most High decided y'all don't got to do the laws anymore. Y'all don't got to, you can eat swine, because basically God gave in to man. That's really what you're saying. God gave in to man. He changed. He doesn't require man to change for his sake. He changes for man's sake. He can't get the job done, so he gives up and just says, scratch it off. That's pretty much what you're saying, which is madness. Because that don't make any sense at all. Then how did Moses plead with the Most High to not destroy Israel. One of the things he said is they're going to say that you couldn't do it. Remember that? Paraphrasing that too. But he was like, if you kill us, the heathen, they're going to say that you brought us out to destroy us because you couldn't save us. Yeah, they're going to say you failed. Now that's pretty much what they're saying, and we all believe it. Like, God couldn't get us to keep the commandments over and over again, and we rejected it. So eventually, he just said, y'all don't even gotta do it no more. I'm a cater to you guys.
And put it on the record. If the Most High's word does go back to him,
and put it on the record, his word goes out and comes back void. It's crazy. But yeah,
and likewise today, what we're seeing is that hopefully that when we're looking at what is called the Hebrew Israelite movement, that we're those people who will not bow down to them.
Mm-hmm.
We're the 7,000. We're the few.
Right.
When we look out, it looks like it's small beginnings, or it's not many of us out here, and we can be short-sighted. But the Most High is working His will and His way,
mm-hmm.
and that this thing that the Most High has put in play, no man can put it aside.
Mm-hmm. Time. So yeah, that's it for the reading today. Hope the class was edifying. We got Hanukkah coming up, or Feast of Dedication coming up the 15th. Mark your calendars down. That's a Monday. We'll be keeping it at that Monday is sundown. So next Shabbat we'll be picking back up in this reading, 1st and 2nd Maccabees. We'll be going into the account of the elder Eleazar refusing to eat the swine, and the 7 sons and their mother refusing to eat the swine, even in death. Because when it says not what goes in your mouth that defiles you, but what goes out that defiles you. You know what that defilement is? You coming out of your mouth to say that you don't got to obey God. That defiles you. So when you come out of your mouth and you say, oh, you don't got to obey the dietary law, you just became defiled. And remember that cat last year that had the Thanksgiving and the ham? I was looking on this page. He had another one, and I clicked on it just to see what he's talking about. He said that the dietary law, when it's talking about not eating swine, it's not talking about actually eating flesh. It's talking about who you hang out with. You know what's funny about that? How do you hang out with somebody that's like a camel? How do you hang out with somebody that's like a horse? What are these? So, Yaquab, you know anybody that can run fast? Hey, don't hang out with Yaquab, y'all. Don't hang out with this brother. He's like a horse. He can run fast. He's like a cheetah. See how foolish that is? So what comes out of your mouth does defile you. And when you say you don't gotta obey the dietary law, you just became defiled. When you say, read Acts 10, you don't gotta obey the dietary law, you just became defiled. But
and then we go through that on Matthew 5:19. It says that whosoever therefore shall break one of these laws or least commandments and shall teach men
so,
that is a defilement.
That is a defilement. Exactly. Exactly. So obviously, so next week we're gonna go more into that, showing the importance. The first thing we're gonna get into next week is the importance of keeping the dietary law. But yeah, so that's it for class. Once again, all praise, glory, honor go to Yahweh Bashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai, Shabbat Shalom, and Kwam Yashala.
Boom, yes, sir.